All right, you all, here we go. So we are going to start word problems, and this solving system of equations in a context, that's just a really fancy way of saying that we're going to be solving word problems using everything that we've learned this whole unit. So we're going to have system of equations, and we're going to have to solve a system of equations to be able to get an ordered pair in a sentence. So let's go ahead and read number 1 together. So I'm not going to talk through this. I'm going to let you read this on your own, either on your own paper or your computer. Okay, just like regular class, I'm going to give you about 60 seconds to read this problem and look at this graph. All right, so I'm just going to sit here, let the video run. I'm not going to read it for you. All right, we should be done just looking at this and reading this. Now, the question is asking, determine the number of sessions at which both trainers will cost the same amount. So here's the funny thing, you all. We actually did this at the beginning of this unit, but without the graph. And this was the word problem that I was like, hey, this is what we're going to be building towards. We have a lot to learn before we can get here. All right, and that's kind of the funny part, but I have included the graph to this problem. So I'm going to challenge you, and I'm going to say that you already know the answer. Determine the number of sessions at which both trainers will cost the same amount. So I'm going to say that you already know the answer. And you're probably like, what? But just look at this graph and see if you can find the answer to that. Okay, so go ahead and what I want you to do, the first thing I want you to do on any type of word problem like this is I want you to put let x equal something and let y equal something. So x has to represent some type of thing in words, and y has to represent some type of thing in words. Okay, so I want you to try to figure out that on your own right now. And then I also, actually, you know what? Just go ahead and try to figure out that. And then I also want you to try to figure out the ordered pair. That is the answer. And then I also want you to try to figure out, I'm sorry, I got to put the camera down for a second. I want you to try to figure out the sentence answer. So tell me what X and Y represents. Tell me what you think the ordered pair answer is, and write a sentence out on what your answer is. So I'm going to give you like 60 seconds or about a minute and a half to figure all that out. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down. I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down. You have about a minute and a half. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and talk about this, you all. I'm sorry, this camera is like, I don't know what it's doing, honestly. So, here's what I put. All right, this is what I put, and I'm hoping this is like the general nature of what you put too. So, I said let x equals number of sessions. Now, how did I know that? So if I were to look at the graph, we should know this from our project. Look at this x-axis. It does say sessions on there. So I just said x equals the number of sessions because it's on the x-axis. That's it. And then the y is the cost. And I figured that out from this. All right, the y-axis is the cost. So that's how I figured out what x and y represented. All right. Now, what I did is I found the ordered pair. That is the answer. Remember, in the system of equations, your ordered pair. So let's go ahead and circle that together. The ordered pair is the answer. So that ordered pair was 4, 250. Okay, just like that. Now, I wrote a sentence because I knew that x was the number of sessions, so that means 4 sessions, and I knew that y is the total cost, so that's $250. So this is what your sentence should sound like. In 4 sessions, both personal trainers will cost the same amount of $250. So this both word right here, this word must be in your sentence on every single problem, all right? Because remember, we are comparing two things. When we solve systems of equations, we are comparing two things. So it has to be both things meet at a certain point. So in 4 sessions, both personal trainers cost the same amount of $250. Now, that was pretty easy because we can look at a graph and say, hey, this is the answer because we've been doing this forever. And we can look at a graph and say, hey, this is what x and y represent because it's on the axis. And we can write a sentence from that. But here's what I'm going to challenge you all to do on number 1. Let's see if we can figure out 2 equations. Okay, clearly our first equation is going to have to be for Keith. So I'm sorry, I'm going to have to put the camera down for a second. Our first equation is going to be for Keith. All right, that's the first personal trainer we're looking at. Now, the second personal trainer's name was Adam. So I want you all to try to figure out an equation for Keith and an equation for Adam. So remember, you should have a y and an x in your equation. So I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds to try to figure that out on your own. So you're gonna have an equation of Keith and an equation of Adam from this word problem. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put the camera down and give you time to do that. So from the word problem, I saw that it said Keith offers personal training sessions for $35 each. We need to remember what each means. Each means multiplication, all right? So it says $35 each session. So the number of sessions is X, all right? So what I did, I have 35X because it's $35 per session plus an additional $115. So, and it says that the total cost of Keith's personal training offerings is all of this stuff. So remember how we said y equals the cost? So we would have y equals 35x plus 115. Now with Adam, his cost, so his y, remember y equals cost, it said he charged $60 per session plus $15 to start. So that's how I got these 2 equations. Now, if we were to write these 2 equations out, like right underneath of each other, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And, where am I going to write this at? Let's go ahead. I'm just going to write it up here. I got really big handwriting, remember? So, we have y equals 35x plus 115. And then we have y equals 60x plus 15. Now, if we look at these 2 equations, without even knowing any of this, you got to think about what this looks like. This looks like just a regular system of equations that we would use what to solve. Okay, what method would we use to solve this system of equations? So think about that to yourself for like 15 seconds. Okay, so I'm hoping that you all were thinking substitution. So we would circle that, plug it in for y. Okay, substitute it in for y. And then we would have something that looks like this. 35x plus 115 equals 60x plus 15. And then you would solve just like a normal system of equations. All right. And you should get either the same ordered pair or something very similar. Now, what I want you to do is go ahead and solve this system of equations. Your ordered pair for this system is actually going to be 4, 255. Now, why is it 255 and not 250? Well, remember, on our project a long time ago, which I realized that was a long time ago, we talked about how graphing is not the most accurate method in the world. All right, and it's not. And that's why we learned substitution and elimination, because algebraically is just so much more accurate. So this is actually your more accurate answer. So your sentence should now say, in 4 sessions, both personal trainers will cost the same amount of $255. All right, so we're going to scratch this out, and we're going to put $255. All right, so here's the thing, you all. I didn't solve this out with you because I know you all know how to do this. All you would do is solve for x here and then plug the x back into your circled equation, and you would get this ordered pair. And then from this ordered pair, you would rewrite your sentence. Okay, so that is number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and give you time to kind of gather your thoughts around that, and then I'm going to make another video on number 2. Okay?